you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the Puffy party. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to fuck. That's what my assistant said. I was like, oh, okay. Now
It started with a laugh. One of those moments where social media thought it was just another joke, another celebrity throwing shade for clout. But the laugh didn't last long, because when 50 Cent spoke up, the tone shifted. The jokes stopped, the comments got quiet, and suddenly a name people hadn't been connecting to the situation was dragged straight into the spotlight. Terrence Howard, a respected actor, a man known for speaking his mind, and now someone at the center of a conversation nobody wanted to have out loud. What nobody expected was that this wouldn't just be about industry rumors or slick one-liners. It would turn into a raw, disturbing look at how power really works behind closed doors.
there's a short life in...
Why do you think that is, what the creative side is?
Well, because losing out money, you got to take drugs. You're going through so much shit to try and deal with life. You are literally, it's an unhealthy space. And so eventually you're going to go too far. Who knows what happened to Philip? Who knows what he had to do in order to get to where he was at? There's a lot of things that people do that end up sitting and they can't get over it. And they got to keep getting high, hoping to get it out of their head. And you lose your man card. That's the only thing I can think of. You lose your damn man card.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
You give up your ability, your right to being a man. A man don't take it, a man gives it. So when you give up that man card, you don't get that back.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
And I'm saying what I'm saying. You don't get that back. You come into this world as a man one time. You give up that right for anything, for fear of being hurt, fear of somebody doing something, for wanting to gain something. When you give up that man card right, you lose some spiritual energy.
When Terrence finally opened his mouth, he didn't ease into it. He didn't dance around the truth. He said enough to make people uncomfortable, then went silent. And that silence, it said even more.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when they said?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there, just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to auction.
You see some guys struggling with that. You see Deeper struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card.
But here's the twist. When 50 Cent confirmed what Terrence had been hinting at, it stopped being just talk. It became a moment where people had to decide whether they were ready to believe that another respected name might be hiding something far uglier than the image they sold the world. And once you hear how all of this connects, you'll understand why Terrence didn't just tell his story, he crashed out.
Hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second. So if she ever needs me, I'm gonna be here for her. But yeah, just protecting those moments, because people take for granted encounters, and I just want to protect her,
Terrence Howard didn't come into Hollywood weak or desperate. That's important to understand. He wasn't a nobody looking for a handout. He was talented, confident, and outspoken from the very beginning. Raised in a complicated household, Terrence grew up learning how to survive pressure early. His childhood wasn't soft. There were struggles, emotional distance, and moments that forced him to grow up faster than most kids ever should. He found escape in creativity. Acting wasn't just a career path, it was a lifeline.
People are worried about Justin Bieber. The 30-year-old sorry singer was spotted looking tense and hollow-eyed in New York City on Wednesday.
A way to express emotions he couldn't always put into words. By the time he reached Hollywood, he carried himself differently. He wasn't easily impressed. He questioned authority, and that alone made him both valuable and dangerous in an industry built on silence. As his career grew, so did his reputation. Terrence became known as intense, intelligent, and unpredictable. Some admired that, others avoided it. He didn't just play characters, he challenged systems. And behind the scenes, that didn't always sit well with powerful people who expected obedience in exchange for opportunity. This is where the story starts to turn, because Hollywood isn't just about talent, it's about access, about who invites you into rooms you can't talk about later. And when someone like Terrence enters those rooms without fear, it makes certain people nervous.
And what we doing, we can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream.
Enter Puffy, a name synonymous with influence, luxury, and control. Puffy wasn't just a music mogul, he was a gatekeeper, a man who didn't ask, he tested. And according to multiple people over the years, those tests weren't about talent, they were about submission.
Terrence has always hinted that something felt off. The invitations, the come hang out energy that never seemed professional, the strange pauses where collaboration was promised but never delivered. At first, he brushed it off. He didn't want to believe that power could move that way. But after the third invite, the fourth call, the energy became impossible to ignore. And this is where Terrence says things crossed a line. Not in a dramatic movie scene way, not with flashing lights or witnesses, but in the quiet, suffocating way that makes your stomach drop after you leave the room.
16. Yeah, baby. Slow down. Let's slow down. Okay. Let's slow down, okay?
One step at a time.
But yeah, the keys is yours when when you're 16. Good to go.
I'm good to go.
Yeah. And then when you get 18, you get the house. You get the mansion. Yeah.
He described moments where nothing was said directly, yet everything was understood. The industry calls it reading the room. Terrence realized the room wasn't about business at all. But here's the part people don't talk about enough. Terrence didn't comply. And when you don't comply in an environment built on silent agreements, the consequences don't show up immediately.
I'm good, Alex.
All right, young brother, everything's good? It's selling out arenas and everything? Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot. But you never really got my number, so.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
555.
They come later. Opportunities disappear. Calls stop coming. Whispers replace conversations. What nobody expected was for Terrence to eventually say it out loud. When he finally spoke publicly, he didn't accuse directly. He didn't name details that could land him in court.
Coming off of being in Miami a night of partying, I don't really remember what I was saying. You know what I'm saying?
Would you like a reminder?
Yeah, sure. Play something. Look, hey, yo, listen, yo, I love it all. I love it all, man. I like when you like this, Daddy. Daddy, I like when you all scrambling and scraping for shit.
That was you.
Scrambling.
What? You said, I like when you do it like that, Daddy. When you scrambling and scraping for shit.
Hey.
Instead, he told a story that felt incomplete on purpose, like he was testing how much the world could handle. And the response was mixed. Some praised his bravery, others called him bitter.
We become friends in a strange way,
Yeah, it's like, exactly.
I'm big in your rock.
Yeah. No, I mean, to a lot of us, he's like a little brother. You know what I'm saying? He's not afraid to call and ask for advice. He's somebody that, in the industry-wise, the record industry is a strong family. And he's somebody that, we definitely have our arms around and we want to protect him because he's such genuinely a nice person besides his talent. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the greatest kids that you could ever. Talked about this last time. He had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television. Apparently not. Everything ain't for everybody.
Then 50 Cent stepped in. Now, 50 doesn't speak accidentally. When he says something, it's usually calculated. And when he confirmed that Terrence had been smashed, people froze, because that word carried weight. It wasn't vague, it wasn't poetic, it was blunt.
It's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to puppy camp?
Hell no.
Suddenly, the story wasn't about rumors anymore. It was about credibility, about whether Terrence's emotional unraveling had a reason behind it, about whether all those moments where people called him difficult were actually trauma responses nobody wanted to address. But here's the twist that shook people. Terrence didn't deny it. Instead, he spiraled. Interviews became erratic, his tone shifted. He talked about science, reality, and truth in ways that felt disconnected. Some laughed, others worried, but very few asked the real question: what happens when someone carries something they were never allowed to speak about? Emotional pressure doesn't always look like sadness. Sometimes it looks like chaos. Sometimes it looks like someone trying to control a narrative before it controls them. Terrence didn't crash out because he wanted attention. He crashed because holding it in stopped working. Behind closed doors, people say his personal relationships suffered. Trust became difficult. Intimacy felt complicated. When you experience something that makes you question your power, it changes how you see yourself, especially as a man in an industry that equates masculinity with dominance. Family members noticed the change, friends pulled away, and the roles he once would have landed easily suddenly went to safer choices. Hollywood doesn't like unpredictability unless it's profitable. What nobody expected was how many people quietly reached out to Terrence after 50's comment. Not publicly, not on record, but privately, sharing similar experiences, similar discomfort, similar silence. And that's the part that should scare everyone. Because if even a fraction of those stories are true, then Terrence wasn't an exception. He was a warning. The emotional impact didn't stop with his career. It followed him home, into moments that should have been peaceful, into relationships that required vulnerability he no longer trusted. Trauma doesn't announce itself, it seeps. Terrence began questioning everything, not just people, reality itself. Some saw that as losing control, others saw it as someone trying to make sense of a world that betrayed them. And Puffy? Silence. The kind of silence only power can afford. No statements, no explanations, just distance. 50 Cent, on the other hand, kept poking, not because he cared about drama, but because he understands how the game works. He's survived it, and sometimes the only way to expose a system is to say the thing everyone's afraid to repeat. The public reaction split down the middle. Some people refused to believe it. Others said it explained everything. The internet argued, laughed, speculated, but very few stopped to consider the cost of telling a truth like that. Because once you say it, you can't take it back. And Terrence knew that. The powerful ending of this story isn't about confirmation or denial. It's about survival, about what happens when a man chooses honesty over comfort, about how many people we label as crazy when they're really just wounded. Terrence Howard may never fully explain what happened. He may never need to. The damage is already visible. The cracks in the system are already showing. And the question isn't whether this story makes you uncomfortable, it should. The real question is how many more stories are sitting in silence, waiting for someone brave enough or broken enough to let them out. Because once one person speaks, the illusion starts to crumble, and Hollywood hates nothing more than a truth it can't control. Stay watching, because this story isn't over.